guys, and welcome back to some more World of Tanks with Spitfire Ace 10 Gaming, and today we're going to be going on to Malinovka yet again, but this time in the Type 95 Hargo, Japanese Tier 2 light tank in a platoon. So the Type 95 Hargo was a Japanese light tank. It's Tier 2 in World of Tanks, and is a pretty good tank to play, especially for beginners, and I've got it because I'm looking forward to it if they ever do put the massive Japanese super heavies out there in the Xbox version. But the Type 95 Hargo was produced from the late 1930s to the 1940s. About 3,200 were built, and it saw action on all fronts Japan was fighting on, China and in the Pacific. This vehicle does have very thin armour, but is very fast and has a quite rapid reloading gun. So I'm playing with my friend Alpha P51, who's in the medium too. Statistically, as with both higher tier players, we should win this. So statistically, because of the amount of experience. There will be a little bit of latency at first because I did have some connection issues because I am playing on the American server here. So I decided to race up to the central field, as that's where most people race up to, especially the rookies. Or I'm not trying to diss any rookies here, because we've all been rookies. I'm only tier 4. My friend Alpha, I think, is a tier 5, tier 6 player. So we're not 100% excellent. This vehicle though is quite a nippy little tank, and this is the stock version. If you ever see quite any of my videos in the first few battles I play, I'll always be playing in stock vehicles, as that's what my sort of main aim is. And so it detects some vehicles. They're T1E6Xs, which are the tier 2 premium American tanks. They seem to be working in a platoon, and suddenly I'm detected by them. So I decide to move out, and I take some fire from someone firing into my approximate position where I start spotted. So now that the coast is clear, supposedly, I decide to turn round and get back into the fight. Alpha is following me up, but is still quite a bit away. So I draw a bead on this Panzer 2G. I've got a 2G and I've got over 40 kills in it. And so I bounce off it and actually hit him the second time. But there's no time to concentrate on him, because those two T1E6Xs are actually moving up quite quickly. They're nippy little tanks, but they're armed with 50 caliber machine guns, it looks like. So I decide to go for the guy at the back, because he's quite far away, and it's better off to always, out of 2 tanks and also with aircraft, attack the guy at the rear. So I start taking fire from the Panzer 2G, but I'm getting out of that. So I fire, but completely miss because I've got a massive shot circle. I fire again, but miss. It does not really matter because I've got quite a quick reload time. But he's stationary and I'm stationary. Now watch this shot. I set him on fire. 1 critical hit, 2 damaged, 2 critical hits, 2 critical hits. Oh my god, it was 4 critical hits in that one time. But he's now run away, but I shut him down anyway. But he was probably a bit jumpy not to use the fire extinguisher, because he's a bit of a rookie. But this is where my luck sort of takes a turn for the worse. Bounced off that T1E6, and another guy destroyed him. I think it might have been that other tank over there, not Alpha, who's also taking fire, which is not too bad. So and then I'm just defending the base now, because those T1E6Xs have put the wind up. So some shots are being fired still across the lake. I've been detected, and that's a Panzer 3A. So I try to get a shot into him, but completely miss. And then I try to get a second shot. I take more fire and he gets knocked out. I don't know what was shooting at me first, but I think I figured it out. I'll figure it out later. So I decide to start moving up to try and take the enemy base, to start capping it. So and as you can see here, the Type 95 Hargo is a pretty nippy tank. It's not the world's fastest tank, but it's fairly quick. It's got, and my crew, I think, are a 75% trained crew, because low tier tank crew are really easy and really cheap to train, and I get knocked out by medium 2, who must have been the one who was firing at me across the lake. And then Karma, yes, he gets knocked out by the other guys. So let's watch what Alpha does for the rest of the match, because it's the end of my contribution to the match, not the end of the battle. We're on 6-all. So at this sort of point in time, it does get quite intense, because there's now just vinegar strokes of the teams. And so that Valentine AT was the one which I've been trying to get for, and then he gets knocked out. So Alpha's taking hits as well. He's taking damage to his tracks and he's slowly trundling up there to try and fight the enemy. So another enemy tank destroyer, Marder 2, I think, is up there and then disappears after a few seconds. So Alpha starts to move up there to try and get him, but you'll see him again in a minute. So Alpha's in a medium 2, which is a British medium tank vehicle that was made in the 1920s and 30s, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a tank nerd, like knowing every single tank, but I know the major ones. But there I am, having been destroyed. It's not too bad. Tank with Type 95. I played the medium 2 a couple of times at once and didn't like it because I wanted to go down the German and Russian trees, so I like the German and Russian tanks. So there's my burning wreck. There's my burning wreck again. And there's Alpha. So Alpha's sitting here in anticipation for that Marder. But the Marder is not reappearing, so Alpha decides to turn round and head back to the base. Yes, and now the base is being capped. That sneaky little bugger got round Alpha and snuck round on the edge of the map and started capping the base. That's sneaky. Then he gets detected, and well, they don't last long when you're up against that. Full health and got annihilated. Well done to that TD driver, T18. So with the threat to the base secure, the threat to the base neutralised, the TD starts moving, the T18 starts moving up, and Alpha decides to camp here for the minute to try and guard it. This battle is not high in action, but it's my first hard okay, and that's why I wanted to show you it. First time in a tank. So early tanks are quite defined, and it's that they all seem quite similar with one another. All light tanks sort of follow a certain pattern, and there are quite marked differences here. Well, there are marked differences in all with most light tanks, but that's the one thing that struck me was that not all of the light tanks are actually quick, and not all of the medium tanks seem to act like as such. Like the medium 2 here feels a tad more of a heavy tank, heavier than the average medium. But now Alpha decides to move up after we decide that it's just better off to force the pressure on the enemy and try and win the match. But you've got to remember he's damaged a bit, so it's not going to be easy. But also it also opens the base to enemies to try and cap it. And I'm not going to tell you any more. I don't want to spoil the ending. So it's now just a race of if the enemy are going to move up to cap, who is going to cap first and who's going to be winning. So Alpha decides to drive up to the very side of the map to try and flank round. But then, for some reason, turns here and wants to drive straight out towards the cap circle. And then our friend TD starts actually capping for once. Well, not for once, but he starts capping, which is nice of him. So then, Alpha's now just moving up, slowly but surely. The enemy team probably knew there was, might not be resistance. So, who's going to, if they are going to cap, how many of them? And no, it is 1, then 2. So I start telling Alpha he needs to get moving. So he starts racing towards the cap circle, but already the enemy team is capping quickly, and that is a problem. They're already catching up with our friend in the TA team. If Alpha can get there and maybe get one shot into a tank and slow down the cap, maybe we have a chance. But it seems very unlikely as the cap circle is some way away, and Alpha is in a damaged medium 2, already not a quick tank. And so Alpha for 1 second decides he might as well hide it out behind the rock and just wait until the end of the battle. But I tell him, no, you're going to go out there and we could still win this. Which is a bit of a fatal mistake, as he gets knocked out by Armada 38T, and their match ends. So it was not a fully auspicious start, but there's an upside to it. I did get a 5 for effect, which I got for all but 2 of my matches, and I've been destroyed in all but. Then I've only been destroyed in 2 of my matches out of the 10 I've played in this thing, and I've destroyed about 7 tanks. So that's 3.5 to 1 kill to death ratio. So thank you for watching this video on the Type 5 95 hardware, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.